an option. It will be particularly useful for all managers and entrepreneurs. It will give
Chairman, Electronics Equipment and Services Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have a gracious round of applause for Mr. V. Sagar. Some more energy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm very jealous. I can't share attention. So please, I promise you, my talk will be more interesting than the topic. I want to ask a question, especially for the youngsters here. If you were competing and with a set of people and you found that you do not have particular knowledge which is required which the others have, what would you do? What would you do if you found that you do not have a particular knowledge which is required to compete with the others? Anybody want to take an answer? Try and guess an answer? Yeah, please.
I will try and learn about it.
You will try to learn that. Okay.
Maybe I
Okay. What if I told you, please, excuse me, one speaker at a time, please. Right now I have the stage. I have the mic. Excuse me. Please give me the pleasure of listening to me. Now what if I told you, I would say, make your ignorance irrelevant. That means do not learn about what you don't know. And I'll tell you why. When you are trying to learn what you don't know, you are playing a catch-up game. In a catch-up game, you're always behind. I learned this lesson very, very early in life. I joined as a management trainee in a tire company. This is going back year 1964. I'm not even sure if anyone of you were born at that time. Dunlop at that time decided to buy a computer, 1964. And the thing was that they cannot employ any new person except those which are technically required. So since the computer was in the finance division, the finance people transferred their own. And then they employed a whole lot of programmers and systems analysts. Those of you who have used computers in the past would know that writing a program was a very, very specialized job. So you had people taking 3 years, 4 years, even 5-year training to become computer programmers and systems analysts. So I was in a department which was manned 50%, one side, all computer analysts and systems people, and on the second side were all chartered accountants. Because the computer was being used for accounting jobs. Cost of production, cost of sale, cost of inventory, that kind of stuff. So here I was in the midst of accountants and computer guys, both of whom were very, very good in their jobs, highly qualified, very, very efficient. And I went to my boss and I said, what am I doing, sir? And he gave me exactly the same answer as this gentleman here gave. He said, go learn accountancy. Then I thought about it. I said, I am smart, there is no doubt, but I am not stupid. What if I have to learn, and this is before internet and before Google and ChatGPT, so you have to learn the hard way by going through books and through tutors. And I said, if I have to learn what they have learned in 5 years of very hard work and compete with them and overtake them in a year's time, then I must be really stupid to think that I could do it. So this is not going to work. So then I said, okay, instead of learning what I don't know, let me see what do I know and change the whole thing. So I said my knowledge was applied mathematics. So I can make models. So let me make a model of some activity of the company, mathematical model, which optimizes something. So I made a mathematical model of a production unit, so that in the same capacity that you installed, you get more output. I used the accountants to give me numbers, costs, material requirements, etc., etc. And I used the computer guys to write programs to solve my simultaneous equations or asymmetry. So I used the accountants to give me information, and I used the computer guys to do my work. With that, I created an output and took it to my manager, and I said, here is something, if you implement, the company will save so much money. Overnight, the entire thing changed. I suddenly became the blue-eyed boy, and I was to call everywhere they wanted to optimize. So I changed the rule of the game by saying, I will make knowledge of accountancy irrelevant, I will make the knowledge of computers irrelevant. And I tell you, 62 years I have been. Since I started the computer division, I still do not know computer programming. I have still not can't write a program, and I have run computer R&D companies, I have run computer companies, I have run background companies. So I believe strongly that I learned that you need to fight on your strength. If you try and make yourself strong in the competitor's strength, you will be in trouble. And this is not only once. From the tire company, I moved to a computer company as a head of sales. When my sales manager said, sir, will you come with me to one very tough customer? I'm having a problem. This is Standard Chartered Bank in Bombay. I had a meeting with the finance director, and the finance director said, oh, IT, computer. So he called this computer man. The computer man came and he started asking me questions about the insides. I haven't got a obvious idea what is inside a computer. I've come up from a tire company. I know why people buy tires. Nobody ever asked me what is inside a tire. So I got stuck. Now what if I tell the computer guy, shut up, there's no need to ask this and make me feel bad. The computer guy was not asking questions to want answers. He wanted to impress his boss about his knowledge. But if I did that, I would have lost this account for good. Because however good our product was, there was no way this computer guy would go to support. So that's not an answer. If I tell I don't know, then I'm worried the finance director will say, here we are investing all our money to get this computer from this company, and the head of the marketing hasn't got an idea about the computer product. Should we actually do that? So either way, I'm in trouble. If I say I don't know, or if I can. So I said, what do I do? Same thing. Make your knowledge irrelevant. So I said to the finance director, I said, what this IT manager is asking are very, very relevant questions. They must be answered. They're very smart questions. But why are you and me answering this? Why are we involved in this? I will arrange for my R&D manager, for my to come and spend a whole day with him and answer all his questions. And I said, you and I, let's sit down and talk about why do you want to use this computer? Does it meet your requirement? I said, if it meets your requirement, then whether it has the bits and bytes doesn't matter. If it does not, then even if it has the bits and bytes, you have made a wrong choice. Finance director found that very interesting. So he took me to the MD, and for the next 1 hour, we were discussing value, what the value we bring to the table. We were discussing what can we do, what can we save the company. And the decision-making moved from cost and performance to value. So I learned this lesson very early to make your ignorance irrelevant. The second thing I learned, and both of this will shock you, I am going to tell you about my experience. And believe me, this is not gospel truth. It's just one man's experience. There is no research to back it up. There is no data to back it up. So take it for what it is worth. Then another thing I learned, that to make yourself redundant. It is shocking. Whether you are an owner or an entrepreneur or a manager, make yourself redundant. All of us like to make ourselves wanted, indispensable. Especially if you are a youngster starting off, you want to become indispensable. That's what I did. Once I found this one magic formula of creating those models, then I became indispensable. And I was very happy to make myself indispensable, because now I'm in a department in which I do not know anything and I'm an important guy in there. So my job is saved. So what do I do? So what happens? Sometimes later I have to get engaged. My boss said, sorry, you cannot get leave because at this time there is a very important job going on and we can't afford to spare you. You are the only one who knows how to do this. Somewhere else, later on, the HR department said, for people who are potential, we need to send them to senior manager courses, so we want to send Mr. Veer Sagar there. Again, my boss said, sorry, if he goes, then this job will get stuck. There's nobody else who can do that. Then I realized, oh my God, I may be permanent, but I'm permanent in this particular job. So I'm going to retire from what I am doing today. That's not a good prospect. Then it struck me, I have to make myself dispensable. How do I do that? I do that by forming a team, by finding somebody to whom I can pass on the job. To form a team. Now, when you form a team, what do you do when you select a team? You look for whether it's got that kind of technical competence that you want, important thing. Then you also see that is this person smarter than me? Will he overtake me? Will he throw me out of job? So you try and take persons who are inferior and who know a lot about the job. When I take somebody, I do not care whether he has any job knowledge or not, any technical knowledge or not. I don't really care. That can be learned. I check only one thing, and this might shock you. I check to see, will he or she, do they have the potential to overtake me? If they can take over my job, then I want them. If they can't take over my job, why do I want to have inferior people around me? So you take a team of smart people, create a team. The next thing a lot of us do is, we create a very smart team and then tell them what to do. Peep over their shoulder, or we micromanage them. So we take good people and get bad performance out of them. So you create a team of good people and empower them. Give them power to take their decisions. Now, while you are saying this, it sounds nice, but you cannot abdicate. Most of us then, because nowhere you as an entrepreneur or as a manager can pass the buck onto your junior who's messed it up. You can't pass on something to your junior and then at the end if he has not done well, you can't pass the blame on him or her and say, oh, I gave it to them but he screwed it up. Because you are responsible. You as a manager cannot pass on a failure to somebody below you. Success, yes. Failure, no. So what do? You have enough feedback information. Not so much that you strangle him. A lot of managers I see, I've seen this before, right? When they review, below them, there will be every item below them. Second level, third level below. Then I said, if he is reviewing every item, what is the second level manager going to do? What is he going to do? A lot of times I used to say, this happens in the house also. A lot of times I used to say, look, leave it. Boss will in any case going to review it and shout. So why should I waste my time? So you only review one or two items which are important. Every organization, whatever that organization may be, has one or two items which are, if they are controlled, life becomes, the organization gets controlled. You do not need to control everything. So you look for that and let your managers below control the other things. Again, I was the CEO of a multinational company producing software. So one day I get a call from the accounts controller of finance in the UK. And he says, do you know, I suddenly noticed that the sale of the consumption of bread in the canteen has gone up. I said, what? Consumption of bread in the canteen. I said, I don't even know if the canteen uses bread. How did you find out? Oh, there are these reports here. I said, look, I really don't know whether the canteen is making money or not, whether the canteen is doing well or not. I can tell you one thing. I am delivering out the most efficient software company in the country. And I manage cost per line and the output. If I am on track there, I really don't care if the canteen is flooded with bread, right? Or if the manager canteen is not doing a good job, it really doesn't matter to me. That's between him and the administrative manager. It's their problem. The administrative manager, as long as he's overall within what he's supposed to do, I'm sure he's too not worried about the bread. So, pass it on. You do not want to do your junior's job. Always try and do a senior's job, your boss's job. Then the boss will like you and he'll push you. You do your junior's job, who will do his job? He will pass it on to his junior. At the end of the day, the lowest rung is sitting with no work. So never do your junior's job and just always find out what is important. Like currently in my job, right? I'm a very lazy guy. And I firmly believe the world is divided into two. The doers and the get-doners. I'm the get-doner. I really don't do anything. But I know what's happening in my company. So what do? I watch 2 items every day. You will say daily? Yes, I said daily. Every day in the evening, I watch 2 items. One is jobs that have come in and jobs that have gone out. And is there any job which should have gone out that has not gone out? If so, why? And what are we doing about it? And similarly, money come in and money gone out. These are the 2 reports I get every day at the end of the day. These are the only 2 things I see. If I see jobs coming in and jobs going out are as per schedule, right, then I'm happy. If not, if there's no explanation why it's not going on, then I call up the manager whatever time and say why. The manager also knows that if he doesn't put the explanation, he'll be called, so he puts in the explanation. Cost and money, to me, money is most important. Top line, bottom line does not matter actually. You cannot pay salaries on top line. You cannot pay electricity bill on top line or bottom line for that matter. You need to have hard cash. And cash, there is the what I call the multinational system of cash, and there is one of the different system of cash. In the multinational system of cash, if in March you need 100 and by 31st March you're collecting 100, you're fine. But you may get the money on the 25th of March, but you pay salary on the 2nd of March. So what do you do on 2nd of March? Your money is coming on 25th. So therefore, money has to be positive on a daily basis. What comes in, what goes out has to be positive. So watch your cash. Make sure that every day you spend money less than what you get. Now we come to another interesting thing. When you are a manager or entrepreneur, try and simplify. Two things you have to learn. One is to simplify, and the other one is to be clear. Again, when I was a trainee, when I was doing these mathematical models, I made some lovely charts, graphs, based on mathematical outputs, shadow cost, etc., etc., and went to my sales director. And I said, here is the thing, sir. And he looked at it and said, no, can't be done. But it's very profitable. I said, maybe, but can't be done. I was very surprised. Here I am showing him the company profit goes up by 7% if he does this, and he says, not interested. So he came back. Then I talked to my boss, who was I think was one of the smartest persons I met. And I said to him, why is this happening? So he said, okay, let me talk to the sales manager and found out. So he talked to the sales manager, and the sales manager said, I haven't a clue what he's saying. I don't understand what he's saying. So how can I accept the safe bet to say no? Then I learned, simplify. Make it as simple as you can, so that the person who has to accept it understands this. If it does not understand this, he cannot implement it because he is responsible. Nobody would like to implement something they do not understand. So simplify. I went back and I made a simple chart, giving item, cost, original quantity, revised quantity, increased profit. That's all. And it went through like a shot. And I tell you something strange. A couple of years later, this manager who refuses went for a senior manager's course, Staff College, Hyderabad. And he came back to me and he said, we did that profit plan exercise. I said, yes. If you had used linear programming on that, you would have done so much better. He didn't realize I did linear programming, and I went to him with that answer and he threw me out. So, simplify. A lot of times, I used to ask myself, I'm making this report. Why am I making this report? What is the objective of making this report? Every time I wrote a mail, I asked this question to myself, what is the objective of this mail? I'm spending time, whether 5 minutes or 1 hour. What am I expecting to get out of that? So when I made a report, I used to ask myself on this question. Either I have to make a report so that I convince the other person about what I am saying, or I make a report to impress the guy. Blind him with science. You understand a thing, he doesn't implement it, but he impresses, oh yeah, smart boy. That he is a very smart boy. He doesn't implement it. You're okay. You don't want implementation. You just want your recognition. So when you make a report, when you make a call, you have to think, what is the objective of this report? A lot of times people write, in my office I tell them, why are you writing this sentence? What value is that sentence adding to your case? Because you're opening another front. So don't write what you don't have to write. Don't give information that you don't need to give. Yet, you don't have to tell lies. This is very important. This is something which every one of us should know. People trust you either 100% or zero. In this world, IT world, when you're exporting, when the customer is far away, he has to trust you 100 or 0, not 99, because he doesn't know which 1% does not work. So 100 or 0. Not only the customer, your employees must also trust you 100. That when my boss says this, that's correct. I can bank on it. So trust and reliability are very important. Other thing is, I learned is to be transparent. I will always be open when I do a review of promotion or increments or anything. I tell my people, my door is open. You can come and ask me, why am I not getting this? Why have I got this less? You can't ask me why that person has got more. Right? But you can ask me why you have got less, and I will answer. I may not convince you. Very few people get convinced when they get a bad review and you tell them why they are bad. Very few get convinced. But I should be able to tell you. I'll tell you another example. When I took over a company called DCM Data Products, it was in a very bad way. Very, very bad way. And I spent some minutes. So it was cash, like losing money, doing no profit, nothing, all kinds of things. You name it, you had it. So I said, now what do I need to do? First thing we did was, we said, okay, what do we want to achieve? One thing we must all learn is you can only achieve one thing at a time. We all like think, 10 multi-programming, do 10 things. It doesn't work. My mathematical background has taught me you can only maximize or minimize one object. Pick up one thing that you want and say, this is what I want to be. So I took all my employees, senior employees, level 1 and level 2, to an outstation thing, and I formed a set of groups, and I said, let them tell me what is that they want to fix. Because if you don't know what you're going to fix, you can't fix. So let's know. And of course, there what happened, I formed teams. And the first thing I found was, the biggest problem with that company was the managers hated each other. And I've been very smart newcomer, not knowing the internal politics. I just said to them, okay, talk about it. And they went at each manager, hammer and tong. My God, I thought they were going to be murdered here. And I said, what have I done? I'm making these managers fight. All the hidden thing came out which they couldn't speak. Right? Because whatever the previous man was, or he didn't allow whatever it was, he couldn't speak. All came out fighting. I got scared. In the evening, I said, okay, come on, let's play table tennis. So got some people to play. Some people have table tennis. The next day when we got back, I said, tell me one good thing. I'm sure I said all this bad thing you have said yesterday. But your people have worked for so long together. There must be one good thing you have done. So then each one said one good thing, then second good thing. So by about another couple of hours, they got it. Then I said, okay, if this is your company, what would you want to achieve in what time frame? They said, okay, 6 months, and we allowed each one to give their own requirement. Then we got them to cut it down to group requirements and finally one. And you'll be surprised. Nobody said profit. Nobody said turnover. All said is we want to be cash positive. Cash positive. Because he said we are sick. In the house we get fired by the wife because we haven't got salary and she can't pay the milkman. In the office we get fired by the suppliers because we are not able to pay and we want material. Then we formed teams, right? Multi-purpose teams, and said, okay, how do we become cash positive? So a whole lot of processes came up to this time. At this point, another lesson I learned is once you have an objective for the company, that objective must flow through the entire organization. So salespeople, their target was not selling. Their target was collection. Purchase department target was not that they don't run out of stock. It was how much money you can release from stocks by problem. Production people was again how much money can you release by clearing the production. So everybody in the company had collection, clearing of cash as their objective. And the word went around the company that the company is looking at cash collection. Very nice. So we managed to do that. After having reached that objective, now we said, what next? Everybody, first thing we do is cost cutting. We're not making profit, we have to cut costs. Easiest way of cost cutting is people. Travel. If you are traveling first business class, travel economy. If you are traveling economy, you travel by train. If you travel by train, you go by bullock cart. But cut costs. And I said then, similarly, cut flowers, cut newspapers that come to the office. Why are we getting 4 copies of newspapers? Why are we putting flowers in the reception? Then, after that, cut people. Now, when you cut people, after this, all this, what you do when you do this, the good guys will leave. Those who don't get no job, you stay there. So your bad guys will continue working with you, the good guys will go. So he said, what do? Do cash management, cost management. Look at your costs. So if you want to think, if you think you're overstaffed, first for traveling, let's take travel. I said, ask this question, is this trip necessary? Can this be done by a phone call? Can it be done by email? Then if you have to go, can you do other jobs there as well? Other departments? Because the sales guy goes, he'll do only sales job and comes back. There could be a purchasing problem there. There could be a service problem there. So can you do more than one? So try and use that. But if you then have to go, then go by the most comfortable manner. Now we come to, okay, you want your overstuff. How do you get rid of it? We did a thing of actually analyzing what is that you want to achieve, and for that, what are the levels that we need to have. So we drew up an organization chart based on offering. Then we said, okay, now let's try and superimpose our existing team onto this chart and who can fit into this chart and who can't. But we said, okay, but how can we get rid of those who can't? Now, it's not their fault. That in this case, what happened is there's some very good people who can't be fitted in this chart. So they'll have to go, and there are very bad people, no good people who we don't want to keep, who will fit in this chart. So we said, now we have to do an analysis. So we put up on the notice board a method of stuff. We said, all those who have got, and we had a good appraisal process. So all those who got 3, that means who got 0, 1, 0 is very poor, 1, 2, 3, 4, who got less than 3 in the last 3 years have to take a voluntary separation scheme. If you don't take, we sack it. 4 to 7 have the option. And above 7 cannot take. If you want to go, you can go, but you will get nothing. Then we designed a very, very attractive voluntary separation scheme. And everything you put on the notice board. The whole scheme, what much you get, so you can calculate your own and you can calculate whether you are going to be there or not. But for the scheme to be self-financing, you need a certain minimum number. So we also put in an incentive scheme. That below this, you will just go, they will get nothing. Above this, every one person that goes, you will come, whole group will get an incentive of so much. So at the end of the day, we were able to get rid of almost 53% of the employees. Not there was a problem, there was a union trouble, people came to my room and cried, somebody came with a knife, all that other stuff. But nobody ever said to me, you are unfair. You are doing because you don't like me. Everybody's name was there, department heads went, juniors went, seniors went, and I'm very proud of this way how I got it, because even today, some of those people who were sent out are my friends. They call me for parties. Because they all believed at the end that yes, once we get over this shock, it was a fair assessment, open, transparent, and done with the heart. So they all got good money, but yes, it's a very traumatic thing to be pushed out. But what I am saying here is, what stood up was the ability to stand up, be fair, and be transparent. If people trust you, right, they will do anything for you. If they don't trust you, even your best things are thrown out. Then I'll tell you something else I learned. Everybody is told that ask one of the things in marketing is, what's your vertical? And you say, oh, I'm accounts, I'm this geography, or this kind of people. And I said, my vertical is customer. I said, what? I said, I don't care what the customer does. The most difficult thing for me is to get a customer. And if once I get a customer, then I don't want to leave that customer. See, if the customer needs something, and that which I don't have right now, I'll do it if he needs it. I'll start that. So I ask the customer, what else? What else can I do for you? I ask the customer, what is your pain point? I never meet the customer and say, this is wonderful, now you got this new product. I never talk about my product. I talk about his problem. And once he comes out with this problem, then I give him a solution with my product. Or if I don't have, I said, okay, give me a time, I will find you a solution with a different product. So what you do, you convert your customer into your friend. Next thing, right, is, and I will rush through now because this thing is killing me. Right? The next thing is, we all are told, love your product, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Right? I say, yes, be very, very enthusiastic, love it, but don't be passionate about your product, but don't be emotionally involved. If you get emotionally involved, you are nowhere. You'll get into trouble. I have 2 products. And the second one is, okay, I have 2 products. When I started life, I started with back office. I met a customer who wanted that product, who would pay for that product. And we designed that product. And since it was totally new to me becoming an entrepreneur, I really did identify myself as an entrepreneur. I said, fine, if it works, it works, doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it worked, it did very well. Then I thought, I'm great. Then I designed another product called Criconet. The company which is telecasting this right now is that company. In that, I designed a product based on what I think the world needs. Never talked to a customer. I said, this is what the customer wants. And I was very emotionally involved with this. Because my idea, totally new, and I went in, and I was so upset when I found customer doesn't want it. Still it struck me, let me not be emotionally involved, cut myself off. Look at it dispassionately as if I'm a consultant. When I did that, I found there were a lot of problems with the product. Things which I thought were great and not really great. And a lot of people, when they started seeing that, yes, I'm prepared to listen, some of my team also came out. Saying, this needs to be changed, that needs to be changed. Some of them are sitting behind it. This needs to be changed, that needs to be changed. And we went through because there was no emotional attachment. Even now I feel very strongly about the product. I love the product. I push that everywhere. But not emotionally involved. The moment you are emotionally involved with your product is doomed because you cannot control it. Right? And one last thing, and then we open up for questions, is always enjoy your job. If you don't enjoy your job, walk out. Money you will get anywhere, job you will get anywhere. If you don't enjoy your job, walk out. I tell my people, I want to have happy people around. If you have happy, positive people around you, you feel nice. At the end of the day, we are not made only for work. Life is meant for also enjoyment. So enjoying does not necessarily mean going out and seeing a movie. It's enjoying also at work. When you go to work, and people ask me, why don't you retire? I say, retire what? I'm enjoying it. I'm retired. I'm enjoying it. Nothing is not work. This is fun. Your job should be something that you enjoy. Have people around you who are positive, happy, smiling faces. Anybody wants to ask any question before they start pushing me out? Anybody wants to ask a question, please? Yeah, go ahead. Can someone give a mic there? Hello? Yeah. I think you have to walk up a little bit and connect the mic. That will be the fastest way.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
I am Dipali from Mountain Monk Consulting. My question to you is, as much as I agree that trust and transparency is important, how would you differentiate between trust and blind trust?
And, no, see, all trust is blind trust. But as I said, you have to have a feedback loop.
Okay.
So like I said, you got to decide. You don't do micromanagement. Right? He's gone from Apna, there is a lovely product. You see, you don't have to monitor the person minute to minute. You expect certain output from that person. As long as you are getting that, that's fine. You have to monitor and say, this is what I want, this is what I'm getting. And believe me, when you are not monitoring, you get better trust. Now, we are working from home now for some time. Right? And my people are in all kinds of odd places. We don't have I have no clue who comes when. And I'm sure my supervisor probably knows. But I don't care. And I know people work from 4 to 8 in the morning and then go help their father in their shop. Right? I have no problem. As long as they're doing their job. Right? As a result of this, sometimes what happens is on places like Diwali and Rakhi and Holi, they work extra hours because the US customers don't understand those. So they work extra hours because they know this has to be done. So as long as they know that this is what is expected from them and I trust them to do it, then deliver. Believe me, most people deliver. It's when they're beginning to, you're not trusting them, but you say, I'm trusting them, but why are they not listening to me? And like I had a boss who said to me, you have full authority. You can do whatever you like as long as you run it by me. Then you can get my permission and do whatever you want. So that trust does not work. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Anybody? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. My name is Ifana. I come from Cameroon. Somebody asked me a question that I did not have the answer, and I hope that maybe you could help me. I was talking about principles and respect. Even I have a boss, for example, I'm working with a boss, and the boss is doing something that I know that is corrupt. But I need the job. If I report the boss, I will lose my job. And if I don't report the boss, I'm going against my principles and my conscience will judge me. So where do I stand in that kind of
I won't report the boss, I'll walk out. Because when you report the boss, you are taking a value judgment. You don't know why the boss is doing what he's doing. But you don't agree with it because it's against what you believe. Walk out. There are enough opportunities. Don't live with your conscience. Because always you feel guilty. And it's not worth it. Then you are not enjoying your job. You are feeling guilty. You are feeling then you are part of whatever your boss is doing wrong.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. You answered my question.
Incidentally, a lot of my talk is based on my book called Failure is Not an Option. which I wanted to cover why it's called failure option, but unfortunately my time got cut. Copy of the books are available at the back for sale, and if you buy, I'm happy to sign them. Okay, there are some copies I've got from the publishers, which is available for sale. Okay, anybody else want any question? A lot of time, I learned the hard way of trust being let down. And my entire company collapsed because I trusted my friend, partner in the US, who let me down so badly that it took me 20 years to recover. It's such a bad mental shock, mental scarring. But then I said, because somebody else does something wrong, why should I spoil my life? Why should I change my values because somebody else is doing wrong? Your values is your values. You live by them, you die by them. You enjoy them because they are your values. Always remember that. You live with yourself. When you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, when you're brushing hair or combing your hair, whatever, you say, I like this guy. He's good. I don't want to look at this guy and say, my God, yesterday he did something fishy. Because then your children, when they see you, when they hear about you, they should feel nice. Because you're also a role model for your children, for your neighbors, and that's important. Because then you're passing on to generations. So, okay, thank you very much, and books are available there, please, if you want to buy. Learn from my failures, learn from my successes, and given a chance for you to interact and pick up some of your questions and your concerns. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Bye.
अपने फेवरेट शॉट्स के हाइलाइट्स डाउनलोड करना भी बिल्कुल इजी। अब क्रिकेट सिर्फ खेलो मत, इसे लाइव भी करो। डाउनलोड क्रिकोनेट ऐप और बन जाओ अपने गेम के स्टार। गली क्रिकेट हो या लोकल टूर्नामेंट, अब हर मैच बनेगा लाइव। वेलकम टू क्रिकोनेट ऐप, जहां आप देख सकते हैं अपनी लोकल मैचेस की लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग। ग्राउंड बुकिंग हो या प्रोफेशनल कोचिंग, सब कुछ अब एक ही जगह। और हाँ, अपने फेवरेट शॉट्स के हाइलाइट्स डाउनलोड करना भी बिल्कुल इजी। अब क्रिकेट सिर्फ खेलो मत, इसे लाइव भी करो। डाउनलोड क्रिकोनेट ऐप और बन जाओ अपने गेम के स्टार। गली क्रिकेट हो या लोकल टूर्नामेंट, अब हर मैच बनेगा लाइव। वेलकम टू क्रिकोनेट ऐप, जहां आप देख सकते हैं अपनी लोकल मैचेस की लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग। ग्राउंड बुकिंग हो या प्रोफेशनल कोचिंग, सब कुछ अब एक ही जगह। और हाँ, अपने फेवरेट शॉट्स के हाइलाइट्स डाउनलोड करना भी बिल्कुल इजी। अब क्रिकेट सिर्फ खेलो मत, इसे लाइव भी करो। डाउनलोड क्रिकोनेट ऐप और बन जाओ अपने गेम के स्टार। गली क्रिकेट हो या लोकल टूर्नामेंट, अब हर मैच बनेगा लाइव। वेलकम टू क्रिकोनेट ऐप, जहां आप देख सकते हैं अपनी लोकल मैचेस की लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग। ग्राउंड बुकिंग हो या प्रोफेशनल कोचिंग, सब कुछ अब
Hello, I'm Veer Sagar. I'm giving a talk at the Global Technology Summit of the India Soft and India Electronico Expo on Tuesday, the 24th of March at 3 p.m. at the Bharat Mandapam, Hall number 3, Mezzanine. This talk is based on my 60 years of experience as a trainee, as a manager, as a supervisor, as an MD and CEO, and as a chairman and promoter. So it's based on 60 years of experience, and it's called Failure is Not an Option. It will be particularly useful for all managers and entrepreneurs. It will give them a chance to learn from my failures, learn from my successes, and given a chance for you to interact and pick up some of your questions and your concerns. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Bye. Hello, I'm Veer Sagar. I'm giving a talk at the Global Technology Summit of the India Soft and India Electronico Expo on Tuesday, the 24th of March at 3 p.m. at the Bharat Mandapam, Hall number 3, Mezzanine. This talk is based on my 60 years of experience as a trainee, as a manager, as a supervisor, as an MD and CEO, and as a chairman and promoter. So it's based on 60 years of experience, and it's called Failure is Not an Option. It will be particularly useful for all managers and entrepreneurs. It will give them a chance to learn from my failures, learn from my successes, and given a chance for you to interact and pick up some of your questions and your concerns. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Bye.